I want to give a big shout out to the Auto Barn Subaru in Countryside. They made this video possible, so if you're in the market for a brand new or used Subaru, then definitely check out this dealership. Their URL is on the screen and in the description below. Today I'm behind the wheel of a brand new 2020 Subaru WRX STI, and yes, this is coming to an end, but only for a short time. That's because Subaru is working on the next generation WRX and STI based off of a new global platform and a brand new engine. But despite the fact that there is one coming down the road, does not make this current STI bad by any means. In fact, it's still one of the most popular sports sedans that you can buy today. And I just got done reviewing a Civic Type R, which is a direct competitor to this STI, so it's still fresh in my mind. So I really want to share with you guys how I feel about this STI versus a Civic Type R. Now let's start out with the engine. The engine basically has been unchanged in the STI since 2004, and it is a 2.5 liter boxer engine, turbocharged of course, that's pushing out 310 horsepower and 290 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot. Even though it's been out for basically 16 years, it's still a very powerful engine, makes the STI still competitive within this class. So if you think about that, that's pretty darn amazing that the STI could be utilizing the same engine and still be competitive within this class 3 generations later. Now, I could tell you, after driving around this STI for a while now, this engine is very, very rev happy. And it has almost no rev hang at all. Woo! There's definitely plenty of power. When you're accelerating, plenty of it. 0 to 60 about 5 seconds, quarter mile about 13.5, 13.6, around there. But even around town, there's plenty of torque everywhere. In the STI, this engine is mated to a 6-speed manual only. And this is the one that you want. If you're driving a fast sports sedan like this, you want to be in control. You want to have some fun with it. You want to bang the gears, throw the shifts in here, right? And that's what you get. Now, the clutch takes getting used to. When you compare this clutch to, say, the one in Type R, my preference definitely goes to the Type R. The Type R's clutch is so easy, so smooth. It's heavier than a regular Civic's clutch, but anyone could jump in and figure it out within minutes. This one takes a long time to get used to. The clutch pedal is firm, it's springy. The clutch point is really early, so you got to get used to that. And nothing looks more noobish in a car than stalling. And unfortunately, I did once, but luckily it was in a parking lot, so I didn't look like a total noob. But if you're starting out, you're learning stick, you're starting out, getting into, say, a WRX or STI, it's going to be a challenge. But if you master in here, you could drive any stick out there relatively easy. Now, the shifter in here also takes some effort. Unlike the Type R, where you can just throw it in with basically 3 fingers and you never have to worry about not being able to get into gear, that's not the case with the STI. There's a couple times where I have to really jam it in there, use some force, and some of you guys will like that better. I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the Type R is a much easier car to drive, but the STI feels a lot more raw. And I think a lot of you guys watching will like that feeling, that rawness, right? Everything is heavy, it isn't easy, and it's really fun. So it does take some effort, and I don't mean to criticize it so much against the Type R, it's just that it's just very different. The two are very different cars. All Subarus, including this STI, has all-wheel drive. So that's another big difference between this and a Type R. If you plan on driving in bad weather, in snow and rain, or you simply want to have maximum traction around the track, well, you go get it in this STI. And you could customize your driving experience. So first of all, I mentioned about this engine being very rev happy, but if you want it to be even more rev happy, there is a dial over here. Normally you're in sport by default, but there's a sport smart. And I looked it up. Basically, it changes the throttle even more aggressive. Besides adjusting the rev, there is something else in here where you can adjust the center differential and how it treats the power. So by default, you have split power, front and back, and this STI will do its thing. It'll measure which wheels are slipping, and it'll divert power front and back, side to side, and basically you never have to worry about it. But if you're tracking this car, you wanted a different kind of experience. Let's say you wanted to do more drifting or something like that, you wanted more power in the rear or you wanted more power in the front, you could adjust it manually. That is really cool. So you do that right in the middle, and if you didn't want to do any of that, then you just simply press auto, and that's where I'm leaving it at. The exhaust, the engine noise is very different in this STI. It's a good different. It sounds more throaty, and there's like a bubbliness to it that adds to the rawness that I talked about. It really gives you a different driving experience. These seats, very, very nice. I feel like they're a little bit more bolstered than the one in the Type R. So for me, I'm really stretching it out. I'm a fairly big guy, but I still fit in here and it's not uncomfortable. I do like them. It's kind of like a suede and leatherette combination. You have some red on the side, but overall, it feels good. It definitely hugs me in. I do not slide around at all. However, I could see if it's a really hot day out, it could probably feel a little hot. But when it's cold out, you do have heated seats in here. That's nice. Now up front, the driving position is nice. I could see well over the hood, despite the fact there is a big hood scoop in the front. See well over the hood. The windows are nice and big. The door panels is low. You don't get that cozy feeling, but that's good. Your visibility is good. Same thing out the rear. It's fantastic. Despite the fact that you have a giant wing back there, it doesn't really block your view, so that's nice. You do have a nice steering wheel. It's very bolstered. I like it, and it feels really good in my hands. I can't tell if this is leather or leatherette, but it doesn't really matter. It works. It works, and it looks good. Now, the gauge cluster, you have an info screen in the middle. That's kind of standard. You can see a few things as you scroll through. Now, over here, that's where it's interesting, and most Subarus are like this. You get a dual screen setup. You have your 7-inch infotainment screen. It's a smaller screen, but you got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You got the essentials, and you can navigate through using your fingers, and you have volume knob and scroll knob, so those are still there. On top, you have another screen. The other screen is used for many things, your climate control, also your time, and it gives you information about your trip computer and your mileage and all that good stuff. So I like how it's split. It's very easy to understand, so it's not cluttered in one big screen. And I actually do like that setup, and that's like many other Subarus out there. Now, because this is a 4-door sedan, you can put passengers in the back, and it's pretty comfortable. I'm 5'10". I fit back there. About 2 inches of legroom and headroom. You don't get a lot. There's no vents or ports back there. You get a couple cup holders, but that's about it. But you can chauffeur people around if you wanted to. What about the outside? Well, Subaru did their best to make the STI different from the WRX and different from a regular Impreza. The brakes are painted green, not red, not yellow, green. So that's how you can tell, number one, this is a STI. And also you get 19-inch wheels, which look nice, and they are needed to fit those gigantic brake calipers. And of course, if you have a hot sedan or a sports sedan, you need a gigantic wing, which you get on this STI. But somehow it looks more subtle than the one on the Type R, yet it's bigger. I don't know how that works, but it works. It doesn't look nearly as obnoxious. It looks like it fits in better. And up front, it has that Impreza look, and it looks very similar to the WRX and the regular Impreza, other than the STI badge. I would say like a Type R would be at a 10 on a 1 to 10 scale in terms of looking outrageous in your face, boy racer like, right? And for some, that's just too much. That's just too overbearing. For this STI, I would say this is more like a 2 or 3. And for some of you guys, I think that's what you want. You want something that's more low key, that the cops won't be eyeing every second on the road. Suspension is stiff. It's made to carve corners, and even around town, there's a lot of stuff on the road that I've been battling through because I'm just going around the local town here, and you know what? It's not bad. The suspension actually feels quite comfortable. You could daily drive this and it would not break your back or anything like that. So I actually do like the suspension a lot. And the steering is really nice. It's really precise. There's almost no play, and it has a good heft to it. And the steering wheel feels good. So the steering is good, suspension is good, and it adds to the whole driving experience in a very positive manner. In terms of pricing, the STI comes in around $37,000. This one is equipped with a few little things such as a short throw shifter, and it pushes the price up to about $39,000. And there is also another trim that's called the STI Limited that gives you some luxury features, but I honestly don't think that's needed. This is all one needs, and if you're looking for a thrilling and fun ride, this will provide that. I've said a lot, so next let me sum up the good and bad for you so you can decide if this is the right car for you. To sum up the good for this brand new STI, you have subtle exterior looks. Also, you get a raw driving experience. There's lots of power. There's comfortable seats both front and rear. The steering and suspension feel great. And finally, you have adjustable driving modes. As for the bad, the subtle exterior looks could be bad for some. Raw driving experience can be bad as well, such as the shifter requiring real force for gear changes. And the clutch does take time to get used to. And finally, fuel economy is below its peers. Overall, I'm giving the brand new STI a score of 90, and if you want to see how it compares with other sports sedans, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future reviews, first looks, or news.